Hi, Heaven Sent. How are you? Can you see and hear me okay? I was having problems with Streamlabs again, so I had to switch over to StreamYards. Can you see me okay and hear me okay? And I think this StreamYard has a delay. Okay, good, good. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight for story time. I guess everybody was waiting on me to get set up, and that the Streamlab just had it out there, had it pending. I don't know, it just said connecting and wouldn't move any further. I guess if it's not one thing, it's another with these different apps and stuff. How was your day? I think I you were featured in another one of my stories the other day. I think it was the one that was Saturday, maybe. I think you were featured in that one, describing how the character. So you had a good day. Good, good. Yeah, I had a pretty good day. I just rested, didn't do a whole lot. Just resting. I'm trying to decide now if I should do story time every other day because it's a lot. It's going to be a lot on me, the prep time and everything. So I'm trying to figure that all out. I was just in a couple of lives today, just trying to make the rounds and connect with people. And that's about it. I'm just going to give it a few more minutes, give a few people time to come in since we're already kind of off track. And then I'm going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, I appreciate that you stopped by. Hi, Denise, Lifestyle and Beauty Blog. So nice for you to join me for story time tonight. Um, I know that other people have lives going on and people are moving around. I was just in a couple of lives myself. I was just over there with Aunt Maddie TV, and then I was on with one of the gamers. I can't think of his name right now, but I was over in their lives, and then I tried to set up mine on that stream lab, and it just wasn't working. So it took me some time to transition over to this StreamYards. I don't really like StreamYards because, for one, it doesn't give me a full picture, and I like also when I'm doing story time to have the fireplace so you all can see I'm sitting by the fireplace. That always adds for a nice ambiance. And then I don't like this little small window that StreamYards have, but I have to use what I got. You're quite welcome, Denise. Thank you so much for coming. Um, Heaven sent, I can't remember. Were you in story time before? I don't remember. You know, I get these brain farts. I know this is my first time seeing Denise. Hi, Simply Sweetheart. How are you? Welcome to the live. Thank you so much for coming to join me. Had a little problems getting set up again and had to switch over to StreamYard, so you won't get to see the fireplace tonight. But it's always a pleasure to have you here. Join me. For Heaven Sent, I don't know, like I said, I don't remember if you were in the live before. I get these little brain farts. But Denise, I know this is your first time. And so what I want to tell you all that I've told the others is that I've written a book. This is my book. The title of it is, trying to get it so you see it, My Struggle and Broken Pieces, A Healing for My Soul. And it's available at Amazon. And I'm trying to give people time to purchase the books, whoever interested in purchasing, because I will be reading excerpts from my book eventually in the near future. And I want to give people time if they were interested in purchasing the book. So I'm doing these little stories as a prelude to that time leading up. Hi, 50 plus. How are you? So glad to see you today. Thanks for joining me in my live. Thanks for joining me in Storytime. I welcome each and every one of you. 50 plus, I was just giving Denise and simply Denise and Heaven Sent um, the information about my book and trying to give people time to purchase it because I think I'm not for 100% sure about Heaven Sent, but I know Denise Lifestyle and Beauty Blog. This is their first time in the live, and so I was just giving them the information. And so I use your names. I use YouTubers' names in my storylines. I feature them as characters in the story. There may be either a person, place, or a thing. So, oh, thank you, 50, for sharing me out. I really appreciate it. Were you over there in Aunt Maddie's blog, Aunt Maddie's live? I was just over there a little while ago. But anyway, so your names may be featured in the story as either a person, place, or a thing, not necessarily as a person, but either or. So I use your names however I can. And as a matter of fact, when I use Heavenly Sent's name in the story, as well as Simply a Sweetheart, their names described. Oh, you were over in Chef's Live. Oh, okay. I didn't even see Chef's Live. I was looking out there and I didn't even see it. Because I probably would have been in that one too. I sometimes try to go in two as many as I can at one time and just kind of go back and forth. So that's how I use them. So Simply a Sweetheart, her name was used describing how a character was, and so did um, Heaven Sent was also used to describe one of the characters. But I'm not going to prolong the time. I thank each and every one of you for taking time out to stop by to see me. I'm going to go ahead and proceed with our story. Um, this is a continuation of the story we started last night. We started a new story, and it's a pretty long story. And I asked everybody's um opinion on how they felt if I should continue with that story, because the story starts out kind of slow, or should I move on to something else? And everybody agreed that I should continue with the story. So this is a continuation of last night's story. And this story is going to take us some time to finish it, but I'll hang with it since I'll hang with it since everybody was in agreement that we should hang with it. Thank you so much, Simply a Sweetheart, because I'll most times I forget to say that. I forget to tell everybody the thumbs up. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with this next part of our story. Like I said, this one is a long one, and it's going to take us a while to get through it. But hopefully, in the interim, everybody will be enjoying it just the same. And after I will finish, I will tell you the names of the YouTubers that are in the story. Right now, it's kind of it's kind of the same characters in the story right now. I think from last night, I don't think we added any new characters by name, anyways. But as we progress, I know this story is going to have a lot more names of YouTube characters that I'll be using. Trying to see where I left off at. Hang on one second. My screen might go blank for just a minute because I'm reading the story from my laptop as well. I didn't anticipate having to do that. Okay, yeah, I didn't anticipate having to use my laptop for the that StreamYard. So I'm working with minimal space here. All right. So as we left off, the character was still falling down and finally made it to the bottom, and encountering these other little characters along the way. Still quite haven't figured out where she is and where she's going to end up. I wish I hadn't cried so much. I haven't quite figured out what's all the fuss been about, said Brooklyn Chick, as she swam about trying to find her way out. I shall be punished for it now, I suppose by being drowned in my tears. That will be a queer thing, I say, but everything is queer today. Suddenly she heard something splashing around a little way off in the pool. So she swam nearer to make out what it was. At first she thought it must be a walrus or a hippopotamus. But then she remembered how small she was and discovered it was only a mouse that had slipped in like her. Would it be of any use now to speak to this mouse? Thought Brooklyn Chick. Everything is so out of the way down here. Should it be clear to me to think that likely it can speak? At any rate, there's no harm in trying to see. So she began. Oh, mouse, my friend, do you know the way out of this pool? Do you have a plan? I'm very tired of swimming around down here and shedding tears. Oh, mouse. Hi, Cindy. How are you? So glad you can join us for story time. Speaking to the mouse, she had never done such a thing before, but she remembered having seen one in her brother's house a time before. Nervously, she rambled on. Oh, mouse, of a mouse, to a mouse, oh, mouse. The mouse just looked at her rather inquisitively and seemed to wink at her with one of its little eyes, but it said nothing. She rambled on. Perhaps it doesn't understand English, thought the Brooklyn Chick. I dare say it's a French mouse. Come over with William the Conqueror. For with all her knowledge of history, Brooklyn Chick had no very clear notion how long ago anything had happened. So she began again. Oh, est machada, which was the first sentence in her French book lesson. The mouse gave a sudden leap out of the water and seemed to quiver all over with fright. Oh, I beg your pardon, cried Brooklyn Chick hastily, afraid that she had startled the poor little animal and hurt his feelings. I quite forgot you didn't like cats. Not like cats, cried the mouse in a shrill, passionate voice. Would you like cats if you were me? Well, perhaps not, you see, but, said Brooklyn Chick in a soothing tone. Don't be angry with me about it, but I wish I could show you our cat Cherry Baby. I think you'd take a fancy to cats if you could only see her. She is such a dear, quiet thing, Brooklyn went on to herself as she swam lazily about in the pool. She sits purring so nicely by the fireplace, periodically licking her paws and washing her face. She is such a nice, soft thing to nurse, and she's such a capital one for catching mice. Oh, I beg your pardon, cried Brooklyn Chick again. By this time, the mouse was stiffening all over, and she felt certain it must be really offended. Sorry, I will stop. We won't talk about her anymore, if you'd rather not. We indeed, cried the mouse, need to change the subject, as he trembled down to the end of his tail. As if I would talk on such a Subject: Our family has always hated cats. Those nasty, low, vulgar things. Don't let me hear the name again, said the mouse. I won't indeed say anything, said Brooklyn Chick, in a great hurry to change the subject of conversation. She began to stutter. Are you fond of dogs? The mouse didn't answer, so Brooklyn Chick went on eagerly rambling. There was such a nice little dog near our house. I should like to show you. A little bright-eyed terrier, you know, with such long curly brown hair. And it'll fetch things when you throw them. And it'll sit up and beg for its dinner, you know, and all sorts of things. I can't remember half the time, and it belongs to a farmer friend of mine, you know, and he says it's so useful. It's worth £100. He says it kills all the rats and or mice around. Oh dear, cried Brooklyn Chick in a sorrowful tone. I'm afraid I've offended it again. At that moment, the mouse named Aaron Tibbs swam away from her as fast as it could move and was making quite a commotion in the pool as it swam away from her. So she called softly after it, Aaron Tibbs, dear, do come back again, and we won't talk about cats or dogs anymore, if you don't like them. When the mouse Aaron Tibbs heard this, it turned around and swam slowly back to her. Its face was quite pale with passion, Brooklyn Chick thought, and it said in a low, trembling voice, let's get to the shore, and then I'll tell you more about my history. And then you'll understand why I hate cats and dogs. It was high time to go, for the pool was getting quite crowded, you know. There were birds and other animals that had fallen into it. Brooklyn Chick led the way, and the whole party swam to the shore. They were indeed a queer-looking group that assembled on the shore. The birds with draggled feathers, the animals with their fur clinging close to them, and all of them were dripping wet, cross, uncomfortable, a total mess they were. The first question, of course, was how to get dry again. They had a consultation about this, and after a few minutes, it seemed quite natural to Brooklyn Chick. She had to end this conversation. She found herself talking familiarly with them, as if she had known them all her life. Indeed, she had quite a long argument with the lorry, who at last turned sulky and would only say, I am older than you and must know better what to do. The Brooklyn Chick would not allow without knowing how old it was, and as the lorry positively refused to tell its age, there was no more for her to say. Oh, excuse me. At last, Aaron Tibbs, who seemed to be a person of authority among them, called out, sit down, all of you, and listen to me. Here's what we're going to do. I'll soon make you dry enough. So they all sat down at once in a large ring with the mouse in the middle. Brooklyn Chick kept her eyes anxiously fixed on it, for she felt she'd catch a bad cold if she didn't dry up very quick. Oh, said Aaron Tibbs, with an important air. Are you all ready to hear? This is the driest thing I know. Silence all around, if you please. William the Conqueror, whose cause was favored by the Pope, was soon submitted to by the English, who wanted leaders and had been of late much accustomed to usurpation and conquest. Edwin and Martyr, the Earls of Mercia and Northumbria. Ugh, said the Lory with a shiver. I beg your pardon, said the Mouse, Aaron Tibbs, frowning, but very politely. Did you speak? Not I, hastily said the Lory. I thought you did, said Aaron Tibbs, but I'll proceed. Edwin and Martyr, the Earls of Mercia and Northumbria, declared for him, and even Stigrin, the patriotic Archbishop of Canterbury, found it advisable. Found what? Said the Duck. Found it, Aaron Tibbs replied, rather crossly. Of course, you know what it means. I know what it means well enough. When I find a thing, said the Duck, it's generally a frog or a worm. The question is, what did the Archbishop find, Aaron Tibbs? Did you not notice this question? But hurriedly went on. I found it advisable to go with Edgar Atheling to meet William and offer him the crown. William's conduct at first was moderate, but now the insolence of his Normans. How are you getting on now, my dear? It continued, turning to the Brooklyn chick as it spoke. As wet as ever, said Brooklyn chick in a melancholy tone. It doesn't seem to dry me. No, not at all. In that case, said the dodo solemnly, rising to its feet, I move that the meeting adjourn for the immediate adoption of more energetic remedies. Speak English, said the eaglet. I don't know the meaning of half those long words. And what's more, I don't believe you do either, truth be told. And the eaglet bent down his head to hide a smile. Some of the other birds tittered audibly all around in a circle. What I was going to say, said the dodo in an offended way, was that the best thing to get us dry would be a caucus race. What is a caucus race? Said Brooklyn chick with a strange look on her face. Not that she wanted much to know, but the dodo had paused as if it thought that somebody ought to speak, and no one else seemed inclined to say a thing. Why, said the dodo, the best way to go is to explain it and then to do it. If you might like to try the thing yourself some winter day, I will tell you how the dodo managed it today. First, it marked out a race course in a sort of circle. The exact shape doesn't matter, it said. Who cares? All of the parties were placed along the course, here and there. There was no 1, 2, 3, go, you know. They began running when they liked and left off when they liked, so that it was not easy to know when the race was over. When they had been running half an hour or so and were quite dry again, the dodo certainly called out, the race is over. Then they'll all crowded around it, panting and asking who had won. Hi, Erica McDuffie. How are you? So glad for you to join me in Storytime. We've already gotten kind of into our story, but I'll continue on. I don't know how much you caught, but welcome, welcome, welcome. Don't forget the thumbs up. This question the dodo could not answer without a great deal of thought, and it sat for a long time with one finger pressed upon its forehead. He sat quietly in the position in which you would usually see Shakespeare in the pictures of him, while the rest waited in silence. At last, the dodo said, "Everybody has won, and all must have prizes. But who is to give the prizes?" Quite a chorus of voices asked. Hi, Pat. Welcome to the live. So glad you can join us today with Storytime. So glad to have you. We've already started. We're into our story. Hope you enjoy what you hear last, and I guess you always can go back to replay and catch the part that you missed. Don't forget to thumbs up. Thank you. Why, she, of course, said the dodo, pointing to Brooklyn Chick with one finger, and the whole party at once crowded round her, calling out in a confused way, "Prizes, prizes!" Brooklyn Chick had no idea what to do, and in despair, she put her hand in her pocket and pulled out a box of comfits. Luckily, the salt water had not gotten into it, so she handed them around as prizes. There was exactly one apiece for all around. But she must have a prize for herself, you know, said Aaron Tibbs with a frown. Of course, the dodo replied very gravely. What else have you got in your pocket? He went on, turning to Brooklyn Chick. Only a thimble, that is it, said Brooklyn Chick sadly. Hand it over here, my dear, said the dodo. Then they all crowded around her once again, while the dodo solemnly presented the thimble, of course, saying, "We beg your acceptance of this elegant thimble." When it had finished presenting this short speech, they all cheered and was at peace with the decision. Brooklyn Chick thought the whole thing very absurd, but they all looked so grave that she did not dare to laugh. And as she could not think of anything to say, she simply bowed and took the thimble, looking away as solemn as she could. The next thing was to eat the comfits. This caused some noise and confusion, as the large birds complained that they could not taste the thing. The small ones choked and had to be patted on the back, you know. However, it was over at last, and they sat down again in a ring and begged the mouse to tell them something more. You promised to tell me your history, you know, said Brooklyn Chick, and why it is you, and why is it you hate C and D so? She added in a whisper, half afraid that it would be offended again. Mine is a long and sad tale, said Aaron Tibbs. Do tell, said the Brooklyn Chick. But the mouse turned to her, sighing. It is a long tale, certainly, said Brooklyn Chick, looking down with wonder while thinking about it as she watched Aaron Tibbs' tale. Why do you call it sad? She kept on puzzling about it while Aaron Tibbs was speaking, so that her idea of the tale was something like this. You are not attending, said Aaron Tibbs to Brooklyn Chick severely. What are you thinking of? I beg your pardon. Please go on, said Brooklyn Chick very humbly. You had got to fifth beyond, I think.
I had not, my friend, cried Aaron Tibbs, sharply and very angrily. A not, said Brooklyn Chick, always ready to make herself useful and looking anxiously about her. Oh, do let me help you undo it. I shall do nothing of the sort. I see you thought I was foolish, said Aaron Tibbs, getting up and walking away. You insult me by talking such nonsense. I didn't mean it, pleaded poor Brooklyn Chick. But you're so easily offended, you know. Aaron Tibbs only growled in reply, but she couldn't figure out why. Please come back and finish your story, Brooklyn Chick called after Aaron Tibbs, and the others all joined in chorus. Yes, please do. But Aaron Tibbs only shook his head impatiently and walked a little quicker. What a pity it wouldn't stay. He just went away, sighed the Laurie. As soon as it was quite out of sight, and an old crab took that time, saying to her daughter, ah, my dear, let this be a lesson, you hear, to never lose your temper. Hold your tongue, Ma, said the young crab, a little snappishly lad. You're enough to try the patience of an oyster. I wish I had our cherry baby here. I know you do, my dear, said Brooklyn Chick aloud, having a conversation with herself, addressing nobody in particular. She soon fetched it back, and that's a fact, she continued. And who is Cherry Baby, if I might venture to ask the question, said the Laurie. Brooklyn Chick replied eagerly, for you see, she was always ready to talk about her pet. Cherry Baby's our cat. She's such a capital one for catching mice, but Brooklyn Chick hadn't thought twice about what she just said. And oh, I wish you could see her after the birds. Why, she'll eat a little bird as soon as she looks at it. Her speech caused a remarkable sensation among the party. Some of the birds hurried off at once. One old magpie began wrapping itself up very carefully, remarking, I really must get home. The night air doesn't suit my throat. A canary called out to its children in a trembling voice that was revealing it was frightened. Come away, my dearest. It's high time you were all in bed. You hear? On various pretexts, they all moved off, and Brooklyn Chick was soon left alone. I wish I hadn't mentioned Cherry Baby, she said to herself in a melancholy tone. Nobody seems to like her down here, and I'm sure she's the best cat in the world. Oh, my dear Cherry Baby, I wonder if I shall ever see you anymore. And here poor Brooklyn Chick began to ramble some more and started to cry again, for she felt very lonely and low-spirited. In a little while again, she heard the pattering of footsteps in the distance. She looked up eagerly, half hoping that the mouse Aaron Tibbs had changed his mind and was coming back to spend some time to finish his story. Hi, Scratching Queen, how are you? Welcome to the live. So glad you can stop in with us on Storytime. We're kind of halfway through our story, but I don't know what you'll catch. Hold on a minute, guys. I gotta get this thing moving again. Oh, is that the end? Okay. Okay, so that's where we ended. So Like I said, this story is going to take a while. That's where we ended right there, with the mouse coming back, and she's in hopes that he'll go ahead and finish his story. So I'll pick back up on it again tomorrow when we come back. So how have you been, Scratching Queen? Everything's okay? Hi, Pat. I don't know if I spoke to you earlier. I see you're in the live. Um, Pat, I think, is also new to the live. And Erica McDuffie. Cindy's been here. Okay, so Erica and Pat. Scratching Queen's been here. So it's Erica, Pat, and Heaven Sent, I believe. But as I was saying earlier, for those of you who weren't here, Pat, I don't think you were here. I tell these little nightly stories during story time, and I use the YouTubers as characters in the story. So you may find your name being used as a person, place, or a thing in the story. Just about everybody in here has had the opportunity of having their name featured in the story. 50 Cent was featured in a couple of them. Scratching Queen was featured in one. Cindy was featured in one. Simply a Sweetheart and Heaven Sent has also been featured in a story. Some of the YouTubers had the opportunity of actually coming into a story time and being featured and being there that night to actually hear their names shouted out in this story. And I've given away a couple of books that I'm gonna in the near future be having. I'm just waiting for the right moment, and I will be giving out a couple of more books before I start reading from my book to give people time to read along. Scratching Queen 50 plus, Bernice, Wolfman Gaming. Those were a few of the people who had the opportunity of winning one of the books. I had a giveaway a couple of times, and I will have another giveaway, like I said. Not sure exactly when, just gonna take it a day at a time and see. Any birthdays in the house today? Anybody have any birthdays? I usually give my birthday shout outs, and I give the person, the birthday person, the option of me singing happy birthday to them. I give them a couple of options song wise. So no birthdays. We had Finest Wine, I think was the last birthday we had, either yesterday or Saturday. Deborah, 50 plus. Why are you laughing and crying? You laughing and crying at how I sing the birthday song? You laughing at me? But Finest Wine, it's so funny that Finest Wine and I think was it you, Simply Sweetheart, that both requested the same song? Hi, Mama Bear 4, how are you? Welcome for joining me in the live. So glad you could join me tonight. So glad you can. Unfortunately, you missed the story already, but you can catch it on replay. As a matter of fact, Mama Bear 4, I want to say you were featured in a story. I think it was the night before last. Anyways, I don't remember exactly which one, but I know you were featured in one of my stories. Hi, Anna Mora, how are you? Thank you for joining me in the live. Unfortunately, you missed the story. Maybe you'll catch it next time, but you can always go back on replay. But what I do is I feature you guys, different YouTubers, in my stories as a character, and so your name will be used as you'll be either a person, place, or thing. And so Mama Bear, I know you recently was in a story. I don't remember exactly which one. You'd have to go back and check them out to see which ones. Which one you were featured in. I think I might have used you in two. I'm not really sure. 50 speaking to Mama Bear 4, Scratching Queen, Mama Anna Moore is saying hello to you. Mama Bear 4 speaking to Cindy.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, that's my way to give my shout outs to the different channels. Um, so I'll feature you in a story, and just call out your names in the story. I don't have any special formula for it. I just put it in there. It's based on how the story flows. So depending on how the story flows and the names, how they seem like they may fit into the story, that's how I use them. That's how I come up with your names. And I think when I use your name, Mama Bear 4, I was referring to a character and saying that she was no Mama Bear 4 or something, excuse me, something to that nature. I'm not really sure. But that's how I do my shout outs in the stories. And like I said, 50 was featured in a couple, Scratching Queen, Simply Yes, Sweetheart, Heaven Sent, and a few others. Cindy was the main character in her story. I don't remember who else is here. Let's see. Pat Jones. I don't remember if I used Pat or Erica. I don't think I used your names in a story yet. And I know I didn't use Denise Lifestyle in a story. Um, but that's what I do. But I'm reading these stories leading up to me reading from my book, and that's why I call this laptop here. That's why I call these little stories a prelude to story time. Even though I'm actually telling a story now, I call it a prelude to story time because I'll be leading up to reading excerpts from my book. So I'm just trying to give people time um, to purchase the book if they're interested. That way, by the time I start reading, they can follow along. Scratching Queen said it's great. Thank you, Scratching Queen. Mama Bear 4 said it's cool. Thank you so much. So that's what I'll be doing. But I still will do these types of stories as well because I want to keep doing my shout outs for the YouTubers. But I will continue on with that. And for those that you came in late, I'm going to hold my book up again. This is my book that I published. It's called My Struggle in Broken Pieces, A Healing for My Soul. And it is available at Amazon. So if you're interested in trying to get a book before I start actually reading from the book, the excerpts from the books, please feel free to do so. I appreciate you patronize me. Um, and that way you could possibly follow along if you'd like while I'm reading excerpts from the book. And I want to apologize to you all again for my setup earlier. I was trying to set up on Stream Labs, and I don't know what's going on with Stream Labs lately, but it looked like it was connecting, but the whole time it just said connecting, connecting. And so I had to go and resort back to running on my laptop and connecting to downloading StreamYards. Hi, His Imperial Savage. How are you? Welcome so much to my live. I appreciate you coming in. Unfortunately, you missed our story for tonight. You'll have to catch it on replay. But I do appreciate you being here. I don't take your presence for granted. Um, Pat is speaking to His Imperial Savage. Imperial Savage is saying, "What's up, family?" And she's speaking back to Pat. Thank you all so much, so much. But I don't know. Like I said, I had to result back. I'm good, Miss Deb. I'm glad I could make it. I'm glad you can make it too. I'm glad you can make it too. Thank you so much. Because I know we all have a lot going on. We're all trying to make our rounds and stuff. And so it's really a sacrifice. Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, yes, you're late. Actually, we started late today because I was having the problem with the connection. So we actually even started late. But you know what? Even though you're late, it's glad to see you in the house. I really appreciate your presence. I really do. And so I had to make a quick change to this StreamYard and download this thing right quick on my laptop. I don't particularly like StreamYard because it's, to me, I don't know how it looks when you all use it, but to me it's fuzzy. And then it has this little limited picture of me. So you all don't get to see the fireplace behind me. I think that makes for a good ambiance. Some people say they enjoy seeing the fireplace. Sometimes I'm just like so tired. until for those of you who are in some of the previous stories, you've caught me in bed in my pajamas doing story time, because I just want to, like, the minute I shut the lights out, just go to bed. But when I have a little bit more energy, I like to sit down by the fireplace and read my story to you all. His Superior Services, I'll definitely have to rewatch it. No worries. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And who knows, you may be featured in a story in the near future. Like I said, there's no rhyme or reason. I just plug the names into the story, based on how the story is flowing, and depending on what type of character, what the character has going on in the story. But we just never know. It's just the luck of the draw. But I get excited about story time, but I get even more excited when someone walks in on the night walks into story time on the night that they're being featured in the story. I get extra excited about that one. I really do. His Imperial Service says, yes, laugh out loud. Fireplace is a nice ambiance. But I still am a fan and love story time. That allowed me and my son Noah. Oh, that's so cute. That is so cute. So you let Noah listen to story time with you. I know I've had several YouTubers ask me about the story time. Ask me, was my channel for children, and because they enjoy the story so much themselves and they want to share them with their children. So I let them know my channel is not for children, although I don't think I'll be saying or doing anything offensive on my channel. But because of the YouTube guidelines, I have to check that it's not for children. However, I don't have any control over who let their children decide to listen to the stories. In fact, the Creative Creole was featured in a story the other night, and she just happened to be in the house on the night that she was featured, and she shared out my channel, and she also said she was going to let her children listen to my story. So I appreciate the fact that not only do you all enjoy the story, which was one of my concerns, my biggest concerns when I first started doing story time. I was like, hey, are these adults going to like these stories, even though it's little childhood stories? But I think the fact that I put a spin on it with using YouTubers as the characters in the story made it far more interesting. I think it did for me. It made it interesting for me. But I'm so glad that you enjoy story time. Um, I have some people that say they set it aside too during the replays for when they're going to bed, and they listen to the ones that they've missed because it's real soothing. And my sister being one, she told me the other day, she said she was looking at all the replays, the ones she didn't catch live at bedtime, because she found it soothing. But yeah, I do like sitting by the fireplace to tell my stories. But like I said, you'll catch me from time to time, and I'll be in that bed telling that story time in that bed, because the minute I end the live, I just check out. Hi, Darren with Smith. How are you? So nice of you to join me tonight for story time. Unfortunately, you missed the story tonight, but I appreciate having you here. Maybe another night you'll catch us, and who knows, maybe one night you may be featured in a story, because I use you YouTubers as my characters in my little stories. His Imperial Seven says, yes, it reminds me of the library story times, just less children. Oh, yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. And nobody to interrupt you during the story time, right? I was laughing because the other night when they were listening to the story, Creative Creole threw up some ears. And I'm saying to myself, so I saw the ears in the live, and I'm like, is she saying is she trying to shush somebody that she's trying to listen to the story because nobody's talking loud enough? But it was funny that she threw up two ears, like, I'm trying to listen to the story, like as you all were greeting each other back and forth, as if you could hear each other. She threw up some ears as if to say, if they quiet down, I guess I'm trying to hear the story. Pat Jones, yes, you have a relaxing voice. Thank you, Pat. Thank you so much. Thank you. His Imperial Service says, Queen of Scratchers, throwing some eyes and a love. Hey, lovely. She's shouting out the Queen. Yes, when you were reading, we're all ears. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I tried to
Now, this particular story that we're doing, and I guess most of you probably have picked up by now who've been here both nights what the story is. And if you know, it's a very political story. And when I first got into it, I had forgotten. All of what it was about. And after I did the first night, I was like, this is a very long story. It's a lot of political stuff going on. How can I work this to still hold everyone's interest and stuff? Because even with the character, as I'm reading and changing stuff and whatever, she was kind of getting on my nerves with all that unnecessarily rambling, because she was just rambling on. She's having these moments where she just goes inside her own mind and she's talking to herself. And so it was kind of getting on my nerves too. So I was saying this particular story is very, very challenging for me with regards to switching things around and trying to keep the rambling from just getting so boring where you're just overwhelmed with it, because that's what it was doing to me as I'm writing. But so far, I think I did a pretty good job of it, where it's still holding your attention, even though the storyline is taking so long to take off. I think I'm doing pretty good with it. But yeah, she goes inside her own head, and I mean, we've been on the story for 2 days, and she just reached the bottom of the daggone pit. She was falling down forever. Scratch Painting says, okay. Darren says, I'm okay. I'll watch the replay. Thank you, Darren. But maybe you'll make it in another night, because this story is going to take us a while. And because of this story and how it's slow taking off, I asked everybody the other night, did they want me to continue with this story, or they wanted me to move on to something else. And for the most part, they wanted me to stick with it and hang with it. So they're challenging me as well with this story. His appearance says, my apologies, Miss Deborah. It's past my bedtime. Got to get up early for work. I'll call you back. Good night. Thank you so much. I understand. We all have things going on outside of this YouTube thing. So thank you so much again for joining me. Hope to see you in the place again down the line. His Imperial Savage, thank you so much. I don't take your time in here in the live with me for granted. Thank you so much. Good night. Have a good night. Ms. Deb, you're doing great. Don't ever stop. Thank you so much. Thanks so much. And believe it or not, you guys are my motivation, because I tell you, a lot of times I am like dragging. My butt is just dragging, and it feels like I don't have energy. And there's so many nights that I want to just put a little message up there saying no story time tonight, but it looks like you all look forward to it just as I look forward to it. And for some reason, every time we get right up on that threshold of logging on to Storytime, Darren, I actually wrote a book, Darren, and that's what these story times are about. The name of my book, here it is here. It's called My Struggle in Broken Pieces, A Healing for My Soul. And it's available at Amazon. And I'm actually going to be reading excerpts, Darren, from my story during story time in the near future. I'm just trying to give people a chance, those who may be interested in purchasing a book, some time to get their book. So if they want to read along with me, they could. So yes, thank you so much. I appreciate you just hearing me now for the first time, thinking that I was talented enough to write a book. Thank you so much for that encouragement. Scratchy Queen says she did. Darren, okay. Cindy says yes. And I'm tired says hi. Hi, I'm tired. Welcome in the live. Guess what? I'm tired. I'm tired too. Thank you so much for joining me. Unfortunately, you missed the story already, but I appreciate you stopping by. But you may be featured in the story. Who knows? Down the line, I feature you characters in the storyline every night. You're either featured as a person, place, or a thing. So you just never know. Several of the people in the live tonight have been already featured in one or two stories. But thank you so much for coming in. I don't take anybody's time for lightly. But as I was saying, you all, the minute it's time, it's showtime. It's like something kicks in and I get this extra burst of adrenaline running so that I can come in to the live and share my story and I try to tell my story without my tiredness showing, because a lot of times I am very tired. Thank you so much, Scratching Queen. She says I'm very talented. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Um, sometimes I think we forget, and we're our worst critics, I should say. We're our worst critics. It's like, for instance, with me, I love to paint, and some of you may have had time to stop by and look at my gallery, my photo gallery. And so my son a lot of times will come in and he'll catch me painting to start working on his painting. Now his thing is drawing. I can draw, but it's not really my thing. I prefer to paint than to draw. So he'll catch me in there painting, and then he'll say, "I'm coming to paint with you." And he says, "Because I need to know how to do this or how to do that." And I'm saying to him, "Oh, excuse me." I'm saying to him, "I'm not that great of a painter. I'm learning this thing too." But he's like, "No, no, no. You're pretty good at it, whatever." So thank you, Scratching Queen, because that's how it is. A lot of times when I think I'm just an average Joe, you know what I mean? Someone will come back and recognize your gift, and they'll compliment you on it and let you know that it's really greater than what you think. Darren says, reminds me of Maya Angelou, Cage Bird singing. Oh, I haven't read that one, but I'll have to read that one. Okay, thank you, Darren. I'm always looking for a good book. But yes, Darren, I did publish. I am a published author. I have a couple of more books in mind that actually I lost one that I was halfway through because for some reason I saved it on my computer and I saved it on a flash drive, and the computer crashed, the motherboard broke, so I lost it there. Then I moved and everything, and then I lost the flash drive. So I lost a story that was almost complete and ready to publish. And I got two more in my head that I need to just sit down and buckle down and start writing them. Now that I'm on this YouTube journey, though, it's going to make that even more challenging because I have this going on. And then, too, also, I may have to start a second YouTube channel because, it's that issue of separation of when it comes to gospel. Because on my channel, I have a gospel section in my YouTube. And, I was told you can't have the Bible showing. You can't recite out scriptures and different little things like that. And then I know that Fine as Wine Cooking was in my live one night. So he asked if we could if I was willing to do a Bible study. And so I told him I was willing to do that. But then if we do a Bible study, scriptures are going to be exchanged and stuff like that. So all of that has an issue. It's a channel versus it's monetization versus non-monetization. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to start a whole separate channel for that. And Scratching Queen and 50, you all are more familiar with this. You can chime in at any time and let me know what your knowledge is on this. But I think I'm going to have to do that because it's going to create a problem as far as the channel being monetized. Anyways, blah blah. With me having the gospel stuff on there. Okay, her book was about her life as well as she wrote it to release herself from the internal struggle. Okay, Darren, then yes, my book is pretty much like hers. It kind of reads like a memoir. It is about things real life events that happen in my life. I try to, do it in a humorous way. And it was to release me from some things because when you write the book, you have to relive the facts in your mind. So it's very tough because you actually start to revisit those events. So yeah, it's very similar, similar to hers. If that's what her book is about, it is very similar. But I tried to convey the information in a humorous way. A lot serious. There are serious moments, there are laughable moments, and also my book is scripture based. So that's another thing. But I gotta sort it all out about this separation of these things, for the monetization, and I gotta do it soon because I'm over 600 uh, subscribers. And I really did not, actually, when I started my YouTube channel, I really did not go into it thinking about the monetization aspect of it. For those of you who have had a chance to review my little facts about myself, I am a minister. So my main objective was to spread the word, which is how my title of my channel came about. Deborah's Glad Tidings. Well, the word is good news. Good news is glad tidings. So that's how my name came about. So I wasn't thinking about the monetization aspect of it. It was just I wanted to get out there and spread the good news of the gospel. Well, after I got involved with the channel, okay, 50 says I don't know myself. I only know about the music. Okay, Gigi. Hi, Gigi. How are you? So good to see you. So that's the thing. In fact, Gigi, if you can shed some light on the information, I was sharing with them um, about my channel and that I may have to create a separate channel because of the gospel section that I have, where they have in the rules where you can't um, show the Bible, you can't call out the scriptures and all that kind of stuff. And the fact that the last time Fine as Wine was in the chat, he asked if I would be willing to do a Bible study. So I know I'm gonna have to sort it all out. But like I said, going into it, I wasn't thinking about the monetization aspect of it. I was just thinking about spreading the good news. So, and I didn't expect the channel to take off so fast. I didn't expect like boom in 2 months' time, you got 600 subscribers and you only need 1,000 for monetization. Where now I'm working more on my watch time now because I realized that the subscriber is gonna catch up and or right now exceed the watch time. So that's where my focus is now. But I'll get it all sorted out and let you all know and keep you posted. But that was one of the things. And I do want to get it sorted out before I do start story time with my book. And because I did say my commitment around that time was, I said I was going to, 50 says, I know that you stream music, YouTube will stop the live stream, but the only way you can get away is to play music in spurts. Oh, okay. So music in spurts. I see. Okay. Um, so that's where I'm at now because I did make the commitment that by the time I started reading my book, that's when we will also start the Bible study. So Jesus says YouTube has some rules that don't favor Bible study. Okay, so I'm gonna really have to. All right, so Gigi, I'll be getting with you soon, linking up with you soon. So I need you to fit some time in for me to help me research this stuff and direct me on the right path and to um, get this channel started, the new channel started, and transferring that content for the gospel section over to the new channel. So I really need you to work with me to try to get this all sorted out and get these rules governing the Bible study and the scripture in the Bible and all that kind of stuff. Because like I said, I really don't know much about it all. And I do want to be in compliance. I want to share, but I want to be in compliance. Scratchy Queen says YouTube stops your stream
when you play music. 50. Okay, yeah. Okay. All right. So that's one thing I keep in mind too. Whenever I'm streaming, especially if I go out somewhere, that they'll stop it with the music. So I think a good idea for me would be just to stay away from the music altogether. That's probably best for me because I have these brain farts and I can't remember who's on first. Um, but yeah, Gigi, if you can do that for me, I really appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to hanging with you next week. I really am looking forward to that. And we can, because I know you're going to have me in them streets. I know you're going to have me in them streets, Gigi. I need to get me some Geritol or something. Gigi's a bad girl, you all. Gigi will put the steroids to shame. Usually the people give me steroids, they have me bouncing off the wall. Steroids saw Gigi coming and shut it down. Shut it down. Gigi, boy, that look, I remember Tom Jones say he the hardest working man in radio or something. Gigi's the hardest working woman I know in the YouTube streets and out of the YouTube streets. But that's my girl. 50 Cent says Gigi Gluten Free Lab. How are your program going? Okay. And Scratch King says, oh, I don't play copyright music. Oh, okay. I play music and they don't stop mine. Scratch King, what kind of music you play? You say you play music and they don't stop it. What kind of music do you play? You have suggestions for us on what kind of music to play? Also, if you're in the live and you haven't hit the thumbs up, please hit the thumbs up button for me. I really appreciate it. Is there a certain place that you should get the okay, she says, oh, from the YouTube library. Okay, that must be the one Gigi was telling me about, the YouTube library. I'm just gonna have to actually go through there and see what they have in there. Um, Gigi says it's going, or she's replying to 50 plus. She says it's going good. The gym is wearing me out. Yeah, it's wearing you out, Gigi, but you look like you're meeting your goal, girl. You look like you're meeting your goal. Yeah, Scratch Queen, I'm gonna have to go into that YouTube library and check it out and see what they got going. Not that I even use a lot of music in my videos, but it's always good to know in case you do. But that's a great idea to go into the YouTube library and see what they got in there. Maybe they have something that might be of interest in there. So that's a good idea. Yeah, Gigi, I was checking you out today. Because I ran your PL list a while back, so I had seen most of your stuff. So I went and checked on some things that I hadn't seen. Queen, I've been working on your PL. You probably noticed by now. That's why you've been getting so many messages from me. Normally, when I run the PL, if I'm up and I'm running it and I'm working on my laptop and I'm listening, working on other stuff, I always throw in a comment. I know, it's a lot sometimes, but if I'm up and on there working on there while I'm watching the videos, I'm throwing in comments. But that's why you've been getting so many messages from me, Queen. That's what's been going on, because I heard you the other day saying that you needed some work in that area. So I decided to go ahead and took the initiative to go ahead and start doing that for you. And I'm at the end of your train right now. I probably got like maybe 4 or 5 more to go, but I'm at the end of that train. But anyways, I'm not gonna prolong the time because I really do need to go ahead and shut it down. I try to commit to at least an hour. Finest Wine channel, how are you? Finest Wine has hello to my love muffin. Hope you're well. Oh, look at that. He got me a pet name. How cute. I'm well, Finest Wine. I am, as a matter of fact, guys, it's been a great day. I've been a little fatigued, but it's been a great day. It's been a pain-free day, more importantly. So I'm doing well. Thanks for asking, Finest Wine. You missed our story tonight, but we're always glad to have you. Go ahead and punch that thumbs up button while you're in here. 50 says, Deborah Tidings, you can play, but the video cannot be monetized because
The money from the ad goes to the owner of the music. I still play it in spurts. But 50, if you play it in spurts, the money doesn't go to that owner. Whether you play it in, because I'm a little confused with what you're saying. I hear you saying you play it in spurts. I hear you saying if you play it in spurts, they don't shut you down. But my question is, if you play it in spurts, does the money still go to the owner of the music? Finest Wine says, good. You know I'm here for you. Thank you. Always. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm late. Well, I understand, Finest Wine, that you're late. I understand. We all have other things we all got to make our rounds. That's for sure. And we got lives outside of YouTube. So I understand, sweetie, but I think thank you so much that you thought enough of me just to come in and say hi. You made my day calling me your love muffin. That's all right there. I don't remember last time I had a fella call me a pet name. But I am well. Indeed, I am. I am. Okay. I was just listening to, Someone says, I was just listening to We Wait by Juanita Bynum. Please listen to it ASAP. Oh, okay. I will. I will, for sure. I was just telling them earlier, Fines Wine, that you suggested a Bible study. And I got to get that things into perspective with that because I'm hearing there's some rules governing the use of Bibles and scriptures. And if we're going to do that Bible study, um, I have to be able to know how to present those scriptures. Because remember, we talked about it briefly about the scriptures and giving it to you all and giving you 2 days to dissect it, and then us coming back on the actual story time night or Bible study night and discussing it. So we want to do things decent and in order. So I'm working on that and getting all the rules governing that sort of stuff. Because from my understanding, I won't be able to do it on this channel. I possibly would have to create a separate channel for the gospel section. Um, 50 says, yes, the money from the ads go to the owner of the music. Oh, okay. Well, then maybe to just stay safe, 50, I'll just stay away from the music altogether. We'll see. I don't know. Fine Swine said, yes, I remember. Yeah. So, anyways, you all, thank you so much again for coming into my live. I don't take your time for granted. I appreciate the fact that each and every one of you thought enough of me to take time out of your schedule to stop by for story time. I thank you so much. You all have a wonderful night. Always remember, until we meet again, may his peace be with you. And I have a will to live. Thank you so much and see you tomorrow night in story time. Good night.